It's been more than a week since I've talked about movies. What am I, losing my mind or something? 10 movies. 2. Number 1, Amityville Dollhouse. Let's put a little asterisk around this right away, shall we? I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid, God knows how old, but I wanted to talk about this movie originally in this video I did about 10 movies with low critic to audience reception. Amityville Dollhouse. This was a movie, I think it's 96 it came out. It's got the subtitle Evil Never Dies. This is, in my opinion, it'll always be a classic. I actually want to do a full review of this movie, sort of like how I do it with the other ones, where I'm probably going to edit this one together. Make it funny, make it witty. Ha ha ha. Yeah, very funny guy. You know, yeah, you know you're funny right away when you immediately proclaim you're funny. In fact, I'm even less funny the more I go into detail on it. Oh God, making a damn fool of myself. Anyhow, the reason why I wanted to talk about this film was because I feel it's very underrated. This movie scared the absolute hell out of me when I was a kid. I literally remember seeing it and jumping over the couch in terror at this one scene involving this charred up, burnt up, deceased guy who's basically the kid's father. So maybe it was that connection that terrified me, because my father died at a young age as well as this kid. So like it had a bit of relatability for me. And yeah, like there's so many scenes that stay in my mind, especially this deceased father character, because like he's almost like he is the main antagonist of the movie. And by God, what a great antagonist he is. Great actor, too. I didn't look up the damn name, unfortunately, because I just wanted to quickly jot down my feelings towards these movies to, you know, bang them out and in the future get to another list of 10 movies that I like. So essentially, Amityville Dollhouse is Hereditary before Hereditary. It reminded me a lot of Hereditary when I saw that movie. That movie is better, in my opinion. Like it's just film. It's made better. It has better actors in it, you could say, and better effects and whatnot. But there's this charm about Amityville Dollhouse, and there's this terror to it, this underlying terror throughout, that has stuck with me for decades now, or for around a decade and a half, or maybe even 2 at this point, who knows, because this came out in 96, 97, so yeah, it's been over 2 decades at this point now. And yeah, this film will always stick with me. I think it's just based off the times that I saw it when I was a child. This is, in my opinion, up there as one of the most underrated horror movie sequels of all time. Like it's not quite on the level of something like Exorcist 3 or Psycho 2. Well, actually, maybe it's closer in comparison to Psycho 2 in terms of quality, because they actually take the time to develop the characters in this. And like I said, too, I can't get over the fact that I love the antagonist of this movie. He's such a frightening presence throughout, especially his initial introduction into this movie. It's one of the most terrifying scenes I've ever seen in a film, because it comes out of nowhere, and there's no like big blah, like music sting to like let you know you're supposed to be scared. It just sort of happens, and it's there. Like they almost normalize it with how they introduce that element into the movie, and it's really wonderfully well done. And there's a lot of scenes that stick in my mind. There's this dinner table scene that I remember, like the camera going around like the actors in the center of the table, and it's just like, wow, that's a really unique thing. You know, this movie could have been literally just slapped together, but clearly everybody involved cared a lot to make this movie of a certain quality rather than just another straight-to-video piece of garbage. And quite frankly, the other Amityville movies I don't give a damn about. I don't even know if I saw the first one, let alone the sequels, because I can't remember them. And I reckon that I have seen them as a child, because why the hell would I only have seen Amityville Dollhouse if I had not seen the others? and that's another sign to me that this film is extremely underrated. I tried to look it up in the search bar in Rotten Tomatoes, and it didn't even come up. There's like no results. Instead, I had to look it up on Google, and then it came up with a Rotten Tomatoes link like 3 or 4 links down, and I'm like, what gives? Like, are you trying to inspire people not to discover this movie, Rotten Tomatoes? Come on, your site's so broken. Fix it up, guys. Moving on now, number 2, Forbidden Planet. This is a mid-50s movie. Leslie Nielsen's in it. He's the main reason why I wanted to watch it. And what can I say? This is a great movie, man. This is a classic movie that's obviously inspired other classic sci-fi movies and television series ahead. You know, like I'd say this is a clear inspiration for 2001: A Space Odyssey, Star Wars, Star Trek: The Motion Picture, even the TV series. This came out before then. At least I think it did. Don't quote me on that, like, because I think the TV series came out in like the 60s and whatnot, but it may have been the 50s as well. So maybe it was on like around the same time frame as this. But this was clearly the inspiration for a lot of sci-fi properties, and quite frankly, it is definitely a classic. I have some problems with it, like it has a bit of that 50s era sexism, where like the one female character in this, like, she walks out and she's like dressed in this skimpy dress, and at one point Leslie Nielsen's talking about how she should wear something a little less revealing. And, you know, there's a bit of charm to it because I like the actors and I like their performances here. And I do like the characters. I feel like they got great relationships with one another and they're very likable. Some of them are very slapsticky. There's this cook character who gets Robbie the robot to replicate endless amounts of booze for him. And it's really quite a funny movie. That's what shocked me the most, was the fact that it's quite funny, it's quite interesting, and the effects in it are phenomenal, especially for the time. They look just amazing, especially when they get to the part where they're venturing through this alien technology and they're looking down at tunnels, and they're told to look down by the Morbius guy, and like they look down and there's this awesome shot, and it's just like you see stuff like that, and it's just like, how did they do it? How did they do this? Especially there's this one scene where the monster in this movie is invisible to the eye. And there's this one scene where the monster's walking around and you see his footprints being embedded into the ground. And it's just like, and then like the shot continues. It's one shot, one take, and the monster's crawling up the steps of the ship, and the steps are denting to its weight, and it's just like, wow, like the fact that they took the time to add that extra detail is just awe-inspiring to me, and it makes this movie the classic that it's been praised to be. Quite frankly, I think this is underrated in a certain way, because everybody, you know, points at stuff like I just mentioned, the classics like Star Trek, Star Wars, 2001: A Space Odyssey. In my opinion, Forbidden Planet deserves to be put up there with the all-time sci-fi greats, because this was just a really fun movie to watch. Leslie Nielsen's so damn suave and charming in the movie too. And yeah, I love this whole cast, and I was genuinely delighted to finally seen Forbidden Planet. Number 3, Blue Ruin. This is a movie, I think I may have talked about this one before, but this is the one that I brought up to a friend of mine recently. And yeah, this is one of those movies that it's a revenge movie. However, it's one of the best revenge movies I've ever seen. If not, it might just be the best revenge movie I've ever seen, because they take the idea of the protagonist not having the skills in order to be the protagonist of this sort of plot, and it just multiplies that by 10. This guy, like, he misses like close range shots. he botches like murders to the point where they're like elongated, and he gets into a awkward fight scene while the guy's bleeding out, and it's just it's so dirty and gritty and authentic, and the performances are so raw. You almost feel at times like you're a fly on the wall with how authentic and natural these performances come across as. Fantastic movie. I don't want to talk too much about it because I already feel like I maybe spoiled a thing or two with it in regards to how they treat this main character in his seeking of revenge. But I thankfully I didn't spoil what he's trying to avenge in this movie, because that was quite an interesting twist on the genre as well, in my opinion, because usually a revenge story is one way, but in this one it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like it when movies, scripts in particular, do that. They take a genre and they sort of like find the cliches within it, and then they find a way to twist them and to make the characters function within those cliches and to make the plot even more believable. And basically they cut all those cliches out, and they make every revenge style action movie after this, and even before this, like all those shitty Death Wish movies, they just make them look like the complete dog shit that they truly are. Number 4, The Bad News Bears. Not the fucking Billy Bob Thornton one. Forget about that one. This is the Walter Matthau version. And it's got Jackie Earle Haley in it as well. That's what shocked me the most about it. He's like this like sort of outcast kid who's smoking cigarettes, and this film, wow, like they do some stuff that they could just not get away with now in regards to like slight spoiler for the end of the film, but Walter Matthau, he's like heavily drinking throughout the movie. Like literally almost every scene he's in, he's got a beer, and he pours a bit of whiskey in there too, just as an added bit of alcoholism. But actually, I won't spoil what he does at the end, because I want everybody to see this film. But yeah, a really wonderful performance from Walter Matthau. I love him in every movie I've seen him in thus far. I don't think he's ever given a bad performance. Very, very wonderful actor. And yeah, I'm going to be watching the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 with him in it. And I believe it's got the guy from Quint from Jaws, something Shaw, Robert Shaw maybe, is in it as well. So I'm going to watch that maybe tonight or tomorrow whenever I get the chance. So you'll probably see me do a review of that at some point later on. I know I've seen it before, but it's not fresh enough in my memory, and I think I saw it when I was really young, and I think it was like sort of on television where I caught like the last half. So I got like the last bit still stuck up there in my head, but I'd like to refresh my memory in regards to that film. Bad News Bears, though, this was a wonderful film, and I agree with Roger Ebert's review. He said that the best moments throughout this film are not the comedic moments, but they're the moments where the audience remains silent and quiet, because there's some scenes in this that like go beyond comedy in regards to it takes its subject matter seriously and these characters seriously, and when it does that, it's very effective. Like there's this moment involving this opposing coach and his son that is extremely effective. And then there's another moment before that with Walter Matthau and this almost daughter character of his. Like she's not literally his daughter, but like her character is treated almost like it, and he's sort of like as soon as she's introduced, you sort of think, is he the father? But right away they dispel that notion, and it's a charming relationship. But it leads to a scene that is very shocking. Caught me off guard with how sudden and like blunt it was. But again, that's what made this film so great, in my opinion, was how authentic they treat these characters. and yeah, it works. It works almost better as a drama than a comedy, because very very much so. This kind of reminded me of Hoosiers with Gene Hackman, except I think I kind of like this movie better than Hoosiers, because that movie was kind of like a bit too like slow in my opinion. I think it's around the same time length as this movie. And I do love Hoosiers, but I think Bad News Bears, this mid 70s version, is a like at least a step or two above that movie in my opinion. Number 5, Mars Attacks. This was an interesting one. I definitely don't think this is Tim Burton's best movie. However, I've got to say that I think this has the best scene in any Tim Burton movie that I've ever seen. There's this scene where this alien takes the disguise of this blonde, like she's got this big wig, and she's sort of like doing this like hypnotic, like dance around, like Martin Short's character picks her up in a limousine, takes her to the White House, and it's this like 5-10 minute long scene. It's probably closer to 5, but this sequence was so good, and I love this actress so much. Gosh, I wish I looked up her name before this, because she does a marvelous job at like looking so out of this world, so out of place, so odd, that I just loved it. It's the perfect Tim Burton sequence, and I wish the whole movie had more creative sequences like this. It's not entirely bad, but a lot of the effects are very janky and very dated. Uh, I don't know. It came out, I think, the same exact year as Independence Day, which I found was funny because it obviously has a lot in common structurally with how Independence Day plays out. Actually, I think Independence Day may have been like 95. This was 96. So maybe they're like a year or two shy. Maybe it was 94 for Independence Day. I can't quite remember. Or who knows? Maybe this came out first. I don't know. I could be completely full of it. But either way, I still think this is a quality film. The reason why I wanted to watch this was because there's this remaster of one of my favorite PS2 video games coming out now called Destroy All Humans, and everybody's talking about it, reviewing it now. I can't wait to play it. I don't think I'm going to buy it for full price, though. I'll buy it when it's like on sale, half off, sort of like I did with this Spyro Crash Bandicoot remasters that they did. But yeah, I look forward to replaying that game. That game obviously is very inspired by this movie. Crypto, the alien in that game, is a direct inspiration of Jack Nicholson. Like, literally, the voice actor is literally replicating Jack Nicholson's voice almost to a T. And Jack Nicholson's got some phenomenal moments in this as well. He has this great scene where he's telling this general moron to shut up, shut up, shut up, and it's one of the best like out of nowhere just like freak out scenes I've ever seen. And he's got some great like GIF worthy, meme worthy moments and reactions where he's just reacting to stuff, and it's just like, wow, I could watch a whole movie of Jack Nicholson just reading lines and reacting to stuff. I'd love to see a movie where he's just reading the newspaper and reacting to all the shit that's going on in the world today. I think that'd be great. But yeah, not too much to say about this film. I think it's a decent movie. I don't think it's great. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it again. However, that one scene with that woman with the crazy crazy blonde wig, I mean, I would watch that scene over and over again, quite frankly. I think that scene's just absolutely brilliant. Most definitely my favorite Tim Burton scene in all of his movies. I think that scene's absolutely marvelous. Number 6, Lost in America. By God, this one was a disappointment. I watched it because it's got Albert Brooks in it, and I love Albert Brooks. I loved him in Broadcast News. I love him in Drive as the villain in that movie. I think he's a wonderful actor. But this movie was a bloody disappointment, in my opinion. A poor man's imitation of National Lampoon's Vacation. because I think this came out like a year or two after that film, maybe even like 5 years or something. But this film inexplicably got released on the Criterion Collection. They make some harebrained decisions as to what should and shouldn't get released on Criterion, in my opinion. And this is a classic example. I think this movie's extremely overrated. Hardly laughed, mostly just annoyed by these two vapid, like irritating characters. I mean, I really didn't like them. I did like Albert Brooks's character to a certain extent, but his wife, whoever that actress is, I couldn't stand her in this movie. She was annoying, couldn't stand her voice, and she does something around the midway point of this movie that sort of just made me like lose my freaking mind. And I was just like, oh, shut up, and how could you do something this stupid? How could you do something this stupid to where there's no build up to it. There's no there's literally no build up to it. She just out of nowhere makes this rash decision while the husband's sleeping in Vegas, and then it leads to crazy hijinks, blah blah blah. And also the term nest egg, I never want to hear that nest egg term again, because they say it like dozens upon dozens of times in this damn movie. And I got so sick of it by the end. I was just like, I can't deal with this movie anymore. I can't watch this movie again ever. I think it's just so disappointed by this movie. I was expecting so much from this movie, and I got so damn little. I think I maybe laughed once or twice, and it was just like awkward. And that was it. This was a damn disappointment, you guys. Go watch National Lampoon's Vacation instead of this. This movie was garbage, you know. And there's not enough interesting characters in it. It's literally just those two characters. At one point, like there's this like the only scene I think I really like got amusement out of was this scene where Albert Brooks is trying to bargain with this guy in Vegas to get his money back. And that's literally the only scene that I found amusing, because it's the only scene where like they at least have another character for Albert Brooks to interact with. And it sort of starts off interesting. Like I liked the whole office job angle with Albert Brooks' character expecting to get promoted and stuff like that, and just coming to the realization that he's not going to get it, so he's like, screw this, I'm gonna just take all of our savings and hit the road with my wife. Screw it. So this movie, like I'm talking like I hate this movie. I don't really hate it. I think if I was to rate this movie, I'd give it like a 5 out of 10, maybe even a 4 out of 10. I don't know, but it's not a good movie in my opinion. In fact, I think it's one of the most overrated movies I've ever seen based off the reviews I saw for it on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and such. So yeah, this was a very, very disappointing movie in my opinion. Number 7, House Party. This was the exact opposite of Lost in America. I deeply enjoyed this movie. It had these two rappers in it, Kid and Play. Like odd name. I've never heard of these guys before, but hey, they're both charming in this movie. And Martin Lawrence is in this movie as well. I like the father in this movie. The father was definitely my favorite character in this. And also there's these cop characters in this movie, and I thought they were going to go one way with them. Like I thought it was going to lead to a sort of ending, sort of like a Boys in the Hood or something like that, where the cops like kill the kid or whatever. Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie. I don't know. But the cop characters in this had me on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh God, like because this was right around the George Floyd incident, and I was just like, oh God, man, like what's this leading to? Because at one point, like there's these bully characters, and they're caught by the cops, and they put them in the back of the cruiser, and I'm just like, oh no, what the hell is this leading to? Because the father's walking alone at night as well. And I'm not going to spoil what happens, but yeah, I was surprised, like where that ended, because there was almost like no resolution. Like I guess that's sort of a spoiler, but I guess it'll sort of quell the expectations a little bit or what have you. And overall, I thought this movie was pretty damn charming. In a sense, it kind of reminded me of that girl movie recently that I think Olivia Wilde directed. It's oh yeah, Booksmart. It kind of reminded me of that because it's about like two friend characters sort of deciding, hey, we need to like throw this, or we need to go to this house party, but instead it's like one of the two characters that ends up throwing the house party, and hijinks ensue, and you got all these interesting characters to explore and what have you, and I actually like this movie way more than that Booksmart movie. I thought that movie was quite a bit overrated. I still like that movie a lot, but I thought many people were just just obsessed with the whole like, oh, this has got like a lesbian character in it, and this is so authentic to the female experience, blah blah blah. And I just thought it was like, it's okay, you know, like I've seen this before. I liked the movie Blockers better. Blockers was basically Booksmart, but a little bit raunchier. I guess I'm a sucker for raunchier humor, and Booksmart tried to play to a bit more dramatic for my taste. I prefer comedies that try harder at being comedies rather than like just dramatic movies. I don't know it. And House Party, though, it's tough to pin down exactly what it is, but it's definitely a comedy up front. Though it feels like it's an amalgamation of different genres as well, especially when it comes to the fact that like the father character decides to go hunting down his son, and and it leads to surprisingly tense scenes involving the cop characters, and I won't spoil what happens with them, but I would highly recommend this movie. I was very, very impressed with this movie, and I think it was on like a list of like 100 or 200 movies, essential comedies or something like that on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was happy to discover this one, and I highly recommend it to anybody who's interested in it. Number 8, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. This is Steve Martin, Michael Caine. I was about to call him Martin Caine and Steve, what, or Michael. Michael Martin. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, I love this movie. Maybe not love. Maybe love is too strong of a word, but I've been on a comedy kick recently. I think quite a bit of these movies are comedies, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Basically, this last set of movies that I got here are all comedies. So, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I guess this is a remake of another movie that came out around in the 50s. I hadn't seen that movie. I might be compelled to see that movie based off of how I felt towards this one. But hey, I don't got much to say about it, but I loved the two performances here from Michael Caine and Steve Martin. This is definitely not a PC movie. This reminded me of when I watched Trading Places, like how in that movie Dan Aykroyd is dressed up in blackface at a certain point. In this movie, Steve Martin is playing a disabled war veteran at one point, and I'm just going like, oh no, and for some reason like that. Usually I don't get offended by stuff, but I don't know why, but that in particular offended me. I don't know why. Like I've had family serve in the army, so maybe that's why like it offended me a bit more. Like I didn't hate it. I'm like, okay, like I understand this is a comedy, and these, and it's literally in the title. These are dirty, rotten, scummy people. So I don't know, like, I don't know what the hell I was expecting. It's like, of course I should have expected to be offended by this movie. These are swindlers. These are con men. Of course they're going to pull shenanigans like this in order to do whatever it takes to win the affection of this one lady, to try and swindle all the money out of her. But so surprisingly, by the end, it becomes quite a almost romantic sort of charming movie, and you find your loyalties switching from time to time. Like at points you'll find yourself rooting for Steve Martin to get with the girl, and then like you'll find yourself rooting for Michael Caine to get with the girl, and then you'll flip back and forth between them. And I found that that whole rivalry between them was just so infectious and so damn interesting. I absolutely loved this movie for these two performances, and yeah, I'll leave it there. This was a pretty damn good comedy. Number 9, A Fish Called Wanda. This was another damn good comedy as well, just like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Great cast here: John Cleese, Jamie Lee Curtis. I think his name is Michael Palin. He's in those Monty Python movies with John Cleese as well. But the standout in this movie for me was definitely Kevin Kline, man. This guy is absolutely hilarious in this movie as Otto. In fact, he's the only character, at least in regards to their name, that I actually remember. I know John Cleese plays the judge. I forget Jamie Lee... Oh, wait, her name's Wanda. Okay, so her name's Wanda. I almost forgot that, but I remember Kevin Kline's character's Otto because he was a character that I was most interested in. Every time like he's going on his tangents, every scene involving him is laugh out loud hysterical. He steals every scene he's in, and he absolutely makes this film better than I was expecting, because quite honestly, the romance, if you will, between Jamie Lee Curtis and John Cleese, I just thought was awkward, and I don't know, like maybe it's just an age thing. Like John Cleese is not a bad looking guy for his age, I guess, at that point in time, but pairing him up with Jamie Lee Curtis, it was just like are you doing this because you're attracted to this actress and you want to be involved in these sort of sexual scenes with her, or are you doing this just because like, oh, I really like this actress and I really want her to be in this movie? I don't know. I found myself thinking about the behind the scenes to this way more than I should have, in regards to like why John Cleese is being paired with Jamie Lee Curtis. It made sense in the context of the movie, but the fact that their relationship goes beyond like just using this guy for like a legal gain, like basically she's using him to sort of like make sure that her like her boyfriend or her fiance or whatever like ends up in jail for longer or something like that. Honestly, the plot's kind of like I watched this about a week or two ago, but already the plot's sort of just like fading out of my mind as the days go by. I still genuinely like this movie, but like I would highly recommend seeing it just for Kevin Kline's performance, man. He is absolutely phenomenal in this movie as Otto. Terrific comic performance, one of the best comedic performances I've ever seen, and this was a genuinely decent comedy as well. I don't think it's a classic by any stretch, but I was very delighted to have finally seen this movie, and I'd highly recommend it, if anything, just for Kevin Kline's amazing performance here. He's so good. And finally, number 10, I'm going to talk about two movies because they obviously sort of fit in together. It's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey. I love both of these movies, but it kind of upsets me the fact that Bogus Journey gets the negative end of the reception. Like it's got like middling reviews on both Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb's from both like the critics and audiences, and I'm just like, Bogus Journey is so much funnier than Excellent Adventure. I'm sorry. Like, I think Bogus Journey is such a better movie. Like, just William Sadler alone as Death in Bogus Journey. I love him, man. I absolutely love him. His performance as soon as he pops into the film, and the whole plot about, like, the evil Bill and Ted. Like, I loved everything about this movie. Like, in comparison to Excellent Adventure, that one, as soon as I watched it, like, I just sort of went, it's fine, you know, it's good, it's not a classic, but I went and watched Bogus Journey, and I'm like, this is the classic one. Like, are all the people that are praising the first movie actually thinking about Bogus Journey instead, because I could see people mistaking one for the other, because I honestly used to mistake one for the other. I was like, what's the one with death? Is that the first one? That's got to be the first one, right? And then no, it ends up being the second one. So yeah, this is one of those rare instances. I'd say I'd like this second one better than the first. And quite honestly, I'm going to put my cards on the table here. I'm going to go all in on this right now. I think Bill and Ted Face the Music is going to be the best of this trilogy. Like, call me crazy by the time it comes out, we'll see. But I honestly think, especially with the love and passion surrounding Keanu Reeves nowadays, and the fact that we haven't seen Alex Winter in like so long, I think that's his name. I might unfortunately have gotten his name wrong there, so forgive me for that one if I am. But you know, the fact that we haven't seen that guy for so long, you know, I just think that's going to make this movie something special. And the fact that like the original writer and director, they're coming back for it. I mean, that's a sign to me that there's a lot of genuine heart and soul that's going to be put into this movie, and I genuinely think that this is going to be a phenomenal movie. I can't wait to see Bill and Ted Face the Music. That's the main reason why I wanted to revisit these movies, and I was so glad I did, because even though I think Bogus Journey is better than Excellent Adventure, like I still love both of these movies almost equally. It's just the like what puts Bogus Journey over the top for me is definitely that William Sadler character. Like, Death is such a hilarious supporting character for Bill and Ted, and there's so many awesome sequences, like especially the whole scene where like he's challenging them to Twister and stuff like that. It's childish in a sense, but it's absolutely amusing and charming, wholehearted, just sheer good-hearted fun. I don't know, I'm losing track of what I'm trying to get at with this talk and blabbering on about movies here, you guys. And anyhow, let's end it there, because I got some editing to do with this video. And yeah, it's always fun talking with you guys. I'll see you on the next round of 10 movies.